Hey, hello friends. Welcome back to Intermediate Machine Learning on Kaggle course. So in this video, we are going to cover missing values unit. So missing values is one of the common challenges of data analysis. As you can see here on my Twitter profile, I shared the three common approaches to handle the missing values in the real world data. So let me show the three approaches here. So the first approach is dropping the columns, and second approach is imputation, and third approach is extension to imputation. So you can see the illustrations here. So dropping columns with missing values means, if you can look at this data frame here, we have two columns, age and salary, and here one of the age field is missing here. So with the first approach, dropping columns, we will drop the entire column. So irrespective of what data you have, we will simply drop it. This is one of the ways of handling the missing values. The second approach is imputation. So what is imputation? We replace the missing values with some value. For instance, here in this case, what we have done is we replaced the missing value with the mean of this entire column here. So it's up to you, I mean, what value you want to use here, whether you want to use mean or you want to use average or any other value that you can decide based on your use case. But the problem with imputation is the imputed value will be maybe less than or greater than the actual value. So here, for example, we have 32 here. It can be greater than or less than the actual value of this column, right? So because of that reason, there is another approach called extension to the imputation. So here what we do is we do whatever we have done in the imputation, plus we will keep track of the missing values. So for keeping track of these missing values, we will have an extra column, and here we will mention whether that is a missing column or not. So you can see here, right? So this particular field value is missing, so that's why this column value is true here. So these are the three approaches, guys. I mean, we use to handle the missing values in the real world data sets. I hope you got the idea. Okay, I hope you got this idea. And so you can go to my profile, I mean Twitter profile, and you can download this image if you want. Okay, now let's move on to the exercise. So in the exercise of this Kaggle course, we will be doing the exercise of these two approaches. One, dropping the columns, and second one is imputation, and we will see the difference actually. So what is the prediction accuracy score, or you can say MAE, when we use these two approaches. So let's move on to the exercise. So I have already done this one, but I will quickly run you through this example, I mean exercises that I have done. So this is the first, is just a setup actually. So we are just loading the training and testing data here in this cell, and here we are basically splitting the data into two sets, the training set and the validation set here. So that's about this one. And yeah, this is just a preliminary investigation that we are doing here. How many columns, okay, how many columns have a missing value here. So let's move on to the actual part. I'm just quickly running through all these cells here. So you can see here, I mean, we have a method called score dataset. So here, what in this method, right, what we have is, I mean, you can say function. So we have a random forest regression model, and the n estimators we used 100. Why 100? Because in the previous videos you can check out, this is the good number for this random forest algorithm with our data set. So that's why we are using this value here, and then we will train the model. Okay, I mean, we will fit the model, and we will predict and finally we will calculate the mean absolute error, and we will return to the function caller basically. So that means when you call this function score dataset with the training set and the validation set, you will get the MAE value. Okay, so now let's move on to the first approach, that is dropping the columns with missing cells. So here it is. So first of all, in the first step, we will have to identify, we have to identify which columns which columns doesn't have values. That means which columns have the missing values. So for that we have just used a list comprehension here. So for column in extrains columns, if column is null, any column, okay, any column value is null, that means that particular column is a missing one. So that's why we are just separating all those things and taking into this variable here, and I have printed out that for verification purpose. So these are those columns which have null values in those columns. So here in this next step, we have dropped those columns from the training set and validation set, and we assign it to reduced x train and reduced x validation. Okay, now when we call score data set, when we call the score data set with reduced x train and reduced x valid data sets, we got this MAE here, which is 17,000. You can see here. Okay, so I will be sharing this Jupyter notebook in the description. So if you want, you can also run this example and you can also feel how it looks like. Okay, now next move on to the next approach, that is imputation. So for imputation, right, we need to import a class from scikit-learn, that is a simple imputer. Okay, so here we have created the object of it, and we have to use this imputer to transform, or you can say fit transform, and we need to pass the data set that we want to impute basically. So what it will do is it will basically identify the null values and it will replace with the imputed value, and that is what we have done basically, right. This data frame will not have any column names, so it will have like 1 2 3 4 as a column names. So that's the reason here in this step what we are doing is we are assigning the column names here. So it works as a renaming the columns. So let me show you what I'm talking about. If I print okay, if I print imputed columns here, red index, so columns, 1 second, it did not get this one. I will print the head, actually that's way. See here, if you notice here, all the column names, right, all the column names are like 0 1 2 3 4 5. So that's the reason we have assigned the column names to actual column names of our training center and validation set. Okay, so finally, finally here in this step what we have done is we have passed those imputed training set and validation set to this function, and we got the MAE score as 18,000. This is surprising, right? So basically what we thought is with the inputted values we should get a better MAE score, but unfortunately we got a higher number here. That's because of the data that we have. Okay, so it happens actually. So that means for this particular data set, dropping columns works better, little better than the imputed approach. Okay, so that's how, guys, that's how we can handle, okay, we can deal with missing values in the data sets. I hope you understand, you got the idea. And if you have any questions, please mention in the comment section below. And as I said, I will be sharing this Jupyter notebook link in the description, so you can copy and you can run this notebook yourself. And then if you have any questions, again you can mention in the comment section below. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as well as for more updates, right, you can follow me on the Twitter as well. On the Twitter I will be sharing all the content that I am doing on the YouTube as well. So that's all for this video. See you in the next video. Till then, take care.